Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. And today we are going to be doing another book review of this book right here, which is Crushing It by Gary Vee. This book was released on January 30th, 2018. The suggested retail on this one is $30 US and $37 Canadian. It's also 272 pages. So let's jump into it. Now, if you know me, you know that I'm a pretty big fan of Gary Vee. I've read and reviewed two of his books so far, which was Crush It right here and The Thank You Economy right beside it. I will link those two videos. Actually, I'll just link the book breakdown playlist right now on the screen. I'm pretty sure it's in the top right somewhere, wherever it is. You'll see the link right now. So his first two books were a mix of like motivation and like business strategies and tactics that you could use. So I was kind of expecting the same thing when I picked up this book, which is Crushing It. But this book, it kind of I expected more out of this book, and let me explain what I mean right now. So this book starts out with him talking about his daughter and how his daughter wants to be a YouTuber when she grows up, because she's a young kid, and like apparently young kids nowadays, they all want to be YouTubers when they grow up, or they want to play some type of esport. Anyway, beside the point. So he kind of talks about that and how he grew his dad's wine business from 3 million to 60 million, just like how he did in the previous two. But one thing that I expected out of this book was more information. In this book, there's a bunch of times where he gets other people's like business story or whatever you want to call it, and I guess they emailed him, or he had a conversation with them, and he basically put it in the book. So this lady right here, Mimi Goodwin, basically what happens is this is Mimi's story right here. And she goes on to talk about like what she did, right? And how for most people it was how they're working a corporate job, and then they found some type of like they had an idea, and then they just started the idea and they started making money, and then that was it. It's like I didn't really get any value out of their story. It's like I could tell you that, okay, I was sitting here making YouTube videos one day, and then I had this idea, and then I went and then I executed on the idea, and then I made a bunch of money, and then now I'm famous and I'm rich, and I'm talking to Gary Vee. And it's like that didn't really, they don't give you actual ideas and actual tactics and actual things on what they did. It was just, I had this idea, and then I executed on it, and then next thing you know, I was making 30 grand a month, and then that was it. So it's like I didn't, and there's a bunch of them in here. Like here, I'll count them right now. So I just went through the book and I counted all of the people that told their stories, and there's about 22. I could have missed one or two because I literally just flipped through the book and I counted them, but it's like that was 22 people that basically told the same story. Yes, the stories are gonna go down different paths, but essentially it's two people that all said, I had an idea, and then I executed on the idea, and then I found out that, I can make $2,000 a day just by posting this little thing on Instagram and tagging whoever, and then that was it. And then now companies send me stuff and they pay me to post about their brand, and it's like I could have done without that. And you're talking about, say for simplicity that it was 20 people and they each took up 3 pages, and some of them definitely take up more than 3 pages, but let's just say for simplicity. So then you're talking about 60 pages of people's stories that, to be honest, I really couldn't care for. When I read Gary's books, when I read books like this, like those two books back there, The Thank You Economy and Crush It, I got immense value out of those on how to execute, about, hard work and all those other types of like business, like tactics, like engaging on Twitter, engaging on Instagram, how to optimize your YouTube, thumbnails and videos, and like things of that sort. The things in this book is, you had the people's stories, but then everything, like all the tangible business, advice that he gave in this book, it was already in the previous 2 books that I read. This book for me, it gave me one piece of important information, and that was about podcasts and how, you can have a podcast instead of like say video, because a lot of, like, I vividly remember this part of the book, and he said that, a lot of people aren't really comfortable like on camera, and, so you can start a podcast because then it's just you and the mic and like say your friend or whoever it is. And then, you can like, that's another way it could be another income stream. It's another way that you could possibly make money in the digital media world. And, he obviously talks about his podcast and, all the people that he's had on there and all that kind of stuff. But it's like, this book, it doesn't really give you any like actionable information. All it does is say that, social media is important, especially in like years like this, like in 2020, about how you can grow your business and customer service and, all those other types of things. But the problem is that what he said in this book, he said in these 2 books already. So it's almost like he's copying himself. So it's like, there was no point in me buying this book if I read these 2, right? Like if you read Crush It and Thank You Economy, his first 2 books, I mean, that's basically all that you need. It's like this book wasn't really needed. I feel like it was just a filler, right? He says that his favorite number is the number 5, right? And now this is his 5th book. So I don't know if he's coming out with another one, but like that just could be me, like, just being stupid, like him releasing 5 books because his favorite number is 5. But it's like, this book was just a filler. It's like, you didn't really need it. It was just like, it was whatever. There's one specific type of person that this book is for, and that person is the person that's, like they're at home and like say they have an idea or say they don't have an idea, like either way it doesn't matter, and like they want to build something tangible, right? Like they want to build a business, they want to start something or whatever, and it's for that person that's kind of on the fence, right? It's for that person that's, they think that they can start posting about, say, like lights, right? And then, they become, like, say they're an electrician, right? Just for example. And they start posting about different types of light bulbs and different types of, whatever, and how you can rewire this until like, and just, they're an electrician, but they've been an electrician for like 20 years and they know everything there is to know about being an electrician. And then say they start posting about light bulbs and fixtures and this and that, and then they start accruing followers, and then Home Depot comes to them and says, hey, we want to send you these light bulbs and we want you to review them. That's basically who this book is for. It's about a person that they have some type of idea, they just don't know how to execute it. Honestly, if I was a person that had no idea what Facebook is, I had no idea what Twitter was, I had no idea what Instagram is, this book, it'll show you how to, engage on Twitter. It'll show you how to engage on Instagram. It'll show you how to optimize, your YouTube setup. It'll talk to you about podcasts. It'll talk to you about websites. It'll talk to you about customer service. But it's like, I already knew these things. When I bought this book, I expected to get value out of this book about things that I didn't know. I expected to learn something, and yes, I did learn about podcasts, but it's like, I'm not gonna start a podcast. I'm not the type of person to start a podcast at this current moment. Who knows, maybe in the future, like I'll start a podcast and I'll end up like Joe Rogan or whoever, right? But at this moment, I'm not really looking to start a podcast, and like that's the only thing that like I got out of this book. If you've been watching Gary for a long time, like how I have, I've been watching Gary for, it's like either 3 or 4 years now, right? The thing about this book is everything that he explains in this book, you can find in some type of video form on his channel, on his YouTube channel. And that's, he talks about engaging on Twitter, like searching up hashtags or, optimizing your YouTube titles, because the first the first 100 characters of a YouTube title on your phone, those are like the visible ones. And then after that, it turns into the little 3 dots, right? So from the beginning of the title to the 3 dots is 100 characters. So, you have to use that information to create, to create titles that'll pull people in. Not clickbait, but to create titles that'll pull people in and grab their attention. Same thing with thumbnails, using bright colors and, things like that. But, this book, honestly, I expected to get more out of it. I'm not saying it's a bad book by any stretch of the imagination. Like I said, like at the end of the day, if you're new to Twitter, if you're new to Instagram, if you're new to Facebook, if you're new to social media, then this book is for you. But with me, if you read Crush It and the Thank You Economy back there, you don't really need to read this book. Because if you want to read about like people's stories, like there's the guy that's in this book. I'm sure you've seen his channel. It's called What's Inside, and basically what he does is he cuts things open, with his son, and his story is in this book. And he was talking about how he was selling like pharmaceutical supplies or something, and he's making $200,000 a year, and then his son came home one day with a project that he had to do for school, and then they had to figure out like what was inside a football or something. And then so they cut open a football, and he filmed it on YouTube, and he put it on YouTube, and then people started watching, and they started cutting open more and more things, and then now he has, I don't know, like probably 10 million subscribers, who knows. And then so he went from making $200,000 a year to making like $200,000 a month. And it's like, to me, like, I didn't really care. Like, I didn't care for people's stories, right? Because they didn't give you, they didn't tell you when the going went tough, right? They didn't tell you that, they had to stay up like all these nights and what they had to figure out in terms of like, legality and like YouTube ads and, all these other types of things. All they said was, my son came home one day and he had to do a school project, and we cut open a football, and we went from making $200,000 a year to $200,000 a month, and then that was it. So it's like, that didn't really interest me. But did I get value out of this book? Yeah. Did I get as much value as I would have wanted? No. But is it a bad book by any stretch of the imagination? No, it's not. It's just, I expected more from this book. I expected more from this book than from those 2 books, because I thought that Gary, he would be older, he would be wiser, he would be in business for longer, so that I would get more out of this book. But in reality, his first book, Crush It, this book right here, this book was, what was this, 2009? This was 11 years ago, almost 12 years ago. And I got more value out of this book in 142 pages than I did in this book at 280 pages. So it's like, it's just like I said, this book, it's a lot of filler. It's a lot of people's stories that, I didn't really care about, I couldn't really care for. If they gave you like the little like legal stuff and technical stuff, then yes, I would have cared for it, right? About having like an LLC and like about taxes and all these other types of things, because a lot of these guys with their YouTube channels, like the really big YouTube guys, they're registered under an LLC because apparently you pay less taxes and this, that, whatever, and all those other little types of like things that you wish you knew, right? But this book didn't give me any of that. It just, like I said, it gave me okay, I had an idea for an iPhone, I created an iPhone, and then now I have all this money, and that's how I did it. So it's like, at the end of the day, it was still a decent book. Would I read it again? Probably not. It was just to me, like I said, it was just a filler book. Final rating for this one is going to be a 6 out of 10. Just because, like I said, for those reasons that I stated before. Is it a bad book? No, it's not a bad book. If you like Gary Vee, then, I would say to buy it, because the thing that I like to do is I like to support people that helped me. And, Gary helped me tremendously. So that's part of the reason that, I bought this book. But like I said, I just expected more out of it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I did finish this book right here. So, the Mama Mentality is done. This book was pretty sick. The review for this one will probably be coming out next week. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm going to be starting 12 Rules for Life right now. Starting on Monday, which is tomorrow, I'm going to be starting 12 Rules for Life. I'm really, excited for this one. Jordan Peterson is another guy that also helped me tremendously. So I am very excited for this one, just like how I was very excited for that Elon one back there. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So, as always, thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch my video. It's very much appreciated. All relevant links are down below. I've linked the Amazon link to purchase Gary's book, all my social medias, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So as always, thanks for watching. Talk to you next one.